as Kenyans. At the end of the day, we are one. We are one country, we are one nation, we are one people. Let's not divide ourselves into tribes. And at the end of the day, you need to realize that people are allowed to vote whoever they want. There's that freedom of choice. And if somebody chooses a different candidate from you, that is okay. That is their choice. They're allowed to choose that person. Walimwes, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 8. We're at 8. I'm so excited of our Not Done Yet podcast. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and please talk to your friends. Tell them about Not Done Yet podcast. And thank you so much for being here with us. Walimwes, Saseni guys. Welcome to another episode of Not Done Yet podcast. We are now at episode 8. Oh my God, we have come so far, and I'm just so happy for all the love, all the feedback, and just being here with us. Continue listening, continue sharing, continue commenting, and let's just grow together. Sawa. So today I want to talk about elections. Today guys are going to vote. Some of you already up and early on the lines, on the queues. So I want to go back to 2007 elections. Yeah. So in 2007, I was in first year in college, first semester. We had just gone through our first semester in school, and we had just closed for a short recess. And yeah, we were home for the election period. And, the election day was just like any other normal day. It was my first time to vote, as an adult. It was the first time. So I was also really excited to be out there voting. So we voted, guys went home, and it was just, people were just in a great mood. And then we went back home. Yeah. So we started waiting for the results, and unfortunately, the results were not what everyone was expecting. Some people were not expecting those results. Some people were expecting those results. Yeah. And I think the situation deteriorated really fast, because one, we used to stay next to a main highway, next to Nairobi Road. It's a main highway. So you can imagine, like, we're just next to the road, and then we just hear, people started just fracas. I saw people looting supermarkets and carrying those carts. They were just pushing the trolleys with whatever they had taken from the supermarket down those roads. We could watch all this from our window. There was a lot of tear gas. There was a lot of gunshots all over the place. It was, by the way, it was really scary. And we were just like, now we didn't know what was going to happen. So we were just home. And remember, at this point, people don't really have food because supermarkets are all closed. Some have already been looted, so there's basically nothing in those supermarkets. I'll never forget. People carried things from those supers. Hey, it was terrible.
This episode of Not Done Yet KE has been brought to you by Mkubwa Beauty Parlour.
Just like I was telling you guys, the supermarkets were looted, some of them, and everything was taken from those supermarkets. It was really terrible. And now the funny thing is, it was not even funny. Now we didn't have food, because one, the supermarkets were closed. There was nowhere to get some food. And then things just became expensive. These two small shops would open. That is the time we bought 50 bob credit for 500 shillings. I will never forget. We bought, 40 bob bread. That time I think bread was at still 40 bob. 40 bob bread was bought at about even 200 bob. They did not care, and if you needed to eat, you'll just find ways. And the market was opened, just kidogo, opened shortly, police presence around. We rushed there, buy a few things, buy omena, buy nini, at least things that would last you for a while. And it was just a scary period. I remember, I think almost most households or most families were surviving on a meal a day, because you didn't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So you couldn't, just use all the food that you have in the house. So it was just a meal a day. Kama mumejaribu sana, then 2 meals in a day. I think us were taking like 2 meals, maybe breakfast and dinner. That was it. Lunchtime, we were just there. And you see, we are home the whole time. So you don't know what is going to happen. People are now breaking into other people's houses. People from other tribes that they don't like, or the other tribe that they were now having trouble with. they were breaking into such kind of houses. And it was really sad because there was not really much we could do at that point. People were being shot by the policemen, gangs also came out fiercely because now they were taking advantage of the situation that was happening in the ground. So there are areas that you could not pass. Ukijaribu kupita, they ask you, for money so that you can pass that area. Yani, it was really, really sad. Yeah, and me, by then I still remember the hunger. Hey, we went hungry, maze. Yani, we went hungry. Me, no, I don't think I ever want to go through that, you see. And yes, so we have a lot of Kenyans, I would say, have carried with them trauma from that period in 2007. Oh, by the way, and then people lost friends. I remember this on Facebook. The unfriending and the blocking that was happening online. It was just crazy because people were in different factions and, kama mjaelewana na mtu anaenda block list. If somebody says something that you don't like or says something terrible about your candidate, anaenda block list. And it also brought out the worst in people. You see, that is the time you saw, you see some of the writing online from your friends and you go like, yani so-and-so can write something like this. It was terrible. I remember even me, there are people I unfriended, there are people I blocked because I was like, we can't be friends if you speak like this about people. There's just no way. Yeah. So I think over the years, we still carry with us trauma from that electioneering period. And I would say every other election year, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty. People don't really know how people will take the elections, how Kenyans will react to the elections. So there's always this, people rush home. You wanted to find you at home and you don't want to be in the city when whatever is happening is happening. So I think a lot of us still have to grapple with that. And also, supermarkets, you find during election period, just before elections, people go to the supermarkets and shop all the supermarkets. Yani, by the time we are going to the supermarket, chakula imeisha, everything is done. Because people are hoarding, people are carrying a lot of food home because they just don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. And it is really unfortunate that we have to live in that kind of a situation. All these years later, we still have that uncertainty. We still have those fears. You never know what is going to happen. So people still overshop. People still do so many different things. People still rush home.
This episode of Not Done Yet KE has been brought to you by Barbie Cakes Ksm.
Now, today, you guys are going out to vote. Please vote for your candidates. And when you're done with voting, please go home. Just go home. Wait for the results. The results are going to come either way, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. It's okay. If it's positive, please just celebrate in a mature manner. If it is not what you expected, there is always another election that will come. So don't fret about it. Don't get angry about it. Don't go having issues with your neighbors. Don't go disturbing people. Don't go fighting. It is not worth it. They say in politics, there are no permanent enemies. There are no permanent friends. And I think we have seen this a lot because the people who are in other factions now have joined together in another faction, you see? After another 5 years. Another 5 years, you'll find people who are in different factions are now together. So please, don't make permanent enemies out of people because of politics. And then the next elections, these politicians are together. And then you already made an enemy out of a friend of yours. Remember your neighbor. Your neighbor is somebody who lives near you. Your neighbor is somebody you share things with. Your neighbor is somebody who comes to you when they have a problem. You also go to your neighbor when you have a problem. So please, just because of elections, don't go troubling your neighbor or don't go fighting with your neighbor. It is not worth it and we shouldn't do that. Let's practice restraint. Let's practice tolerance. Let's not go out there to fight anyone. Let's just vote calmly and go home and pray that the best candidate wins or your candidate wins. And whichever way it goes, remember, life goes on. Life will always go on. So please, let's be very mature about everything. And I wish all the candidates all the best in these elections. Walimwes, thank you so much for listening to the Not Done Yet podcast. And please follow us on all our socials. We are Not Done Yet KE. And yes, by the way, we are not done yet.